And we're live. Welcome, everyone, to the 2218's Attitude for Gratitude weekly podcast. We're all gravy. I heard your countdown said 3, and we're good. We're gravy. All right, boys and girls, thank you, everyone, for checking in with the 2218. I got to take this out of my ear. I'm hearing everything. So, this is Timothy J. Warren, and sitting in for Tad is our faithful producer, Elena. Say hello, babe.
Hey.
So, you know what? We're going to jump in. You know what? Let me just do some advertisement real quick. 2218, that's where we're at, like every week. They're the ones who are letting us put on this podcast. They're the ones who host all sorts of rides for the recoveries, Patsy parties, fundraisers, neighborhood things. Like, this place saved my life. It can save your life. Be part of it. If you're able to donate, please donate. If you're able to come volunteer, come volunteer. We got the Gratitude Cafe coming back. This place is on fire. Come down, be part of it. Make it part of your recovery. So, with that said, Elena,
What's up?
are you able to multitask and tell me how your week's been going?
I'm totally able to multitask.
Well, talk to me, Goose. How's your week been going?
My week's been going. That's all I can really
We
say.
usually elaborate at that point. Like, I know it's been going because you're here to tell me it's been going. So what's up?
Well,
Share with what you're comfortable sharing with about your week.
well, my week's, I work, so my week's been pretty busy. Other than that, I've been dealing with some family stuff. My stepdad had a stroke last weekend, so I've been dealing with family. And for the people that do know me, they know that I can deal with family in small increments. So I've been dealing with family. The family that I love and care for is all of my family, blood and non-blood, but I get along with my recovery family more than I do my blood family.
I think a lot of us
So
can relate.
it's been tough. It's been a challenge, but I'm making it through.
Right.
And I'm making it through with talking to the people that I have in recovery.
Right?
So
Reaching out.
My dad is still not doing very well, but he will be. I keep praying. And there's a lot of people that are praying for him all over the United States. So that's all that I can hope for.
Right, like this thing of recovery, and I'm sure we'll bring it up later in the show, but like I can contest to what the recovery has done for you with this situation. Like, we always talk about life shows up on life terms. Like, you didn't want this to happen. You weren't expecting it to happen, but it happened. Shit shows up. And then what we do is what recovery's taught us and what you've done. I've been on the receiving end of you reaching out. I know you reached out to many other people, and then when shit got real hectic, where'd you go to?
I went to a meeting.
Multiple times.
Multiple.
Like, I saw you, I was like, we're at Will Work for Recovery. I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, I know you're at the hospital. She's like, shit, I need a meeting. Like, that's what we do in recovery nowadays. Like, when shit shows up, we do what our predecessors have taught us to do. And, like, that's, like, what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I know that's gotten you through because I know this has been real tough on you. Like, I've talked to you throughout the week. It sucks.
It does suck. And when I found out, I was actually going out to dinner with a friend and a couple other friends, and
It interrupted your life.
and I still went because there was nothing I could do, and I knew that if I didn't go with them, that I was going to be stuck in my head, and that I was going to have all of these thoughts, and I was going to have all of these things going on where I was going to be like, okay, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? And I can't have all of those thoughts. So I still went out to dinner, and I still went and did the things that I did afterwards, and I did all of those things because I knew what my addict brain was going to do.
Right.
And some people might be like, well, what the heck? Why aren't you up at the hospital? Why aren't you what am I going to do?
Right.
I'm going to sit there and do nothing while he's in surgery, while he's doing this. I can't do those kinds of things. That's not who I am, because where I'm going to end up is at the pumpkin liquor store right down the road. Because
That's
it's right
right.
across the street from the hospital that he's at.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I know this area, or that area. I don't know this area that we're in, but I know that area. Like, that's just my life. So that's what I chose to do, and that's what I will choose to do when I can't be right there. Like, if he was at home, I would have been there.
Right. Like the big takeaway, I think, for anyone listening, because like I say, is like, I know we all deal with life showing up. Like I've been sharing about it, and I'm in the midst of it. All you can do is what we have at hand. Like, and you just expressed it. Like, you've grown enough to know, like, I'm not going to be any help there. And if you needed to be there for family, you would have been there, and you were there at times when that was necessary. But right away, there was nothing you could have done. So you went on with your life, and throughout this process, you were reaching out. You were doing what we were supposed to do, which doesn't really make it any easier, but you got through it. And, like, you're here for the most important thing of your week, to hang out with me. So it's good. Other than that, though, work, kids. I know you just got a phone call, I think.
I did. I just got a phone call from my daughter.
Because she's still in your life, and you're still mama, and you're still doing recovery. Like, so your week's been, other than life showing up, like, life's good, though, right?
Yeah, life is great. It's
good.
Life is a learning experience every single day, and I have friends that I talk to every day that keep reminding me that they just keep reminding me of what a great person that I am, and it's helping me get through life. It really is.
Okay. Well, someone's phone is,
It's mine. I'm sorry. I forgot to turn my phone off.
Elena. Did you hear that, guys? Her phone went off. Oh, I was talking about your loud phone.
Do not
So
blame
my
my
week,
phone.
what you asked me about my week? Is
Yeah,
that what
how
you were
was your
saying?
week?
No, my week's good. And then I bust your balls for not elaborating.
I'm sorry.
No. I know.
How was your
my
week?
My week's good. My week's been good. Got back to work. Got to hang out with family. My older brother, he had a procedure where the family thought it was going to be some major thing, and it ended up being smooth. So that was really good. Paid my bills. Like, this week was pretty mundane. I did the responsible stuff that you do in recovery. Like, so that's all good stuff. Other than that, I believe I made too many plans for tomorrow, and I will have to pick and choose and be responsible while calling certain people back and letting them know that I overbooked and be honest about it. So other than that, like, our weeks have been good. That's it. We're checked in. All good. This show is interactive. So anyone listening, please share it. Please interact. Please post questions. I will put my phone number up there. Elena's going to get her number on there. You can find me on Facebook, Timothy J. Warren. You can find Elena at...
Elena Etheridge.
All right. Just reach out to us. Like, you don't have to be alone. And when it comes to sharing this, try to share it off the main feed. Like, I am not getting any better at sharing this. I share it from the wrong feed all the time, and then all my friends are like, it says unavailable attachment. So once you find this, just, I don't even know what the main one is. I believe it's the Alano Minneapolis 2218 through Facebook. I believe that's what it is. Is that, or no, what are you looking at? Like, what's our main one?
Our main one is 2218's Attitude for Gratitude
Okay.
live stream.
So that's the one to share, because I think I've got like 9 people on a different thread right now, and I'll figure it out next week. I'm sorry about that, everyone who's listening. And the main reason for that is that way we can see each other who are posting questions. And like I said, it's interactive. If anyone has ideas for the show, please post them. Reach out to me personally. Reach out to Tad personally, or Elena. It's up to you, however you want to get to us. But other than that, like, share this. Share this with anyone that you think could benefit, or that could use some recovery. Or if you have, like I said, the big thing is ideas for the show or questions. We welcome everything. And again, Jane's, the Gratitude Cafe, I see Jane's on here too. So
Yep.
just let everyone know. Come on down to the 2218. It's one of the better Alano clubs out there, and there's always meetings every day of the week. There's, I know for a fact, at least an AA meeting at noon every day, and an NA meeting every day at 6:30 at 2218 every day of the week. And there's multiple other meetings throughout. So at this time of the show, we have this thing called Self-Care with Elena. Now is the time that we're going to roll into Self-Care with Elena. Bring. I forgot to cue up the harps.
The harps? Now we have harps?
Yeah, it was the harpsichord.
Oh, my Lord. I hope we don't have harps. Okay.
What up,
so,
Andrea? Go ahead. Sorry.
my gosh.
It's your time. Go.
Okay. So, yeah. So we talk about self-love. And so...
Come on. We busted each other's balls throughout the week about this.
We did.
So pull it up.
We did. I pulled it up. So we talk about self-love. It's positive self-talk, self-care, and self-worth and self-esteem. So this week I'm talking about boundaries. Having the courage to set boundaries is showing love to yourself. It does not matter if we disappoint others in this process. It is our responsibility to let others know how we feel. When we think about boundaries with our friends or in our relationships, we have to remember that that's okay. I've talked with a lot of people this week, a few different women and a few men, about boundaries. And they've asked me if it's okay to set these boundaries, if it's okay to have boundaries. And absolutely.
You mean sponsees have reached out to you or people in the program?
Not just sponsees, actual just people that I've seen in meetings because they've heard me talk about boundaries because I'm a big person when it comes to boundaries. I've set those boundaries in the last year and a half. Like I follow my boundaries for a reason because if I don't, then that sets me back in what I'm trying to do in my recovery. So it's important to set those boundaries. So just a few examples that I kind of wrote down today is when you're in a relationship or with your friends, don't be afraid to say no. Mm-hmm. Don't feel guilty. There's no reason to be afraid to say no. Another thing is being treated equal. You should be able to be treated equal with somebody else that you're in a relationship with or with your friends. Nobody is better than you.
And if it starts feeling that way, you got to get to moving.
Exactly.
All right.
Reminding each other that you should not be using negative words. There's no reason why you should be calling somebody else a negative word. If you're calling somebody else a negative word, why are you calling them that?
Right.
What's going on inside of your head that you feel like you need to be calling somebody that? And then there's setting boundaries with yourself. I have so many boundaries with myself. One of the things is that I need to keep reminding myself and telling myself loving thoughts about myself because I have
positive affirmations.
Yes, I have put myself down so many times, and lately that's one of the things that I'm trying to fix. And I do that because I'm also trying to teach my 17-year-old that. My 17-year-old is on a kick of doing that. Tim, you are such a dork.
No, keep going like this. Right.
You just got me calling you a name on the show.
I know
Gosh. Another thing is calling supportive people. So when I need somebody to talk to, I call supportive people. I'm not going to call somebody that isn't supportive, somebody that isn't going to give me something good about what I need to talk to them about. I'm not going to call somebody that isn't going to give me the solutions that I need. I need solutions.
Yes, okay.
I don't want somebody that's going to give me negative feedback. I want all the good solutions towards my recovery. And the other big thing that I always do with setting my boundaries is that I have to remember that no matter how old I am, it is okay to have a timeout. It is okay to take a timeout from life, from your job, from your friends, from all kinds of things. Just take a time out, whether it be 5 minutes, 2 hours, 24 hours, whether it be from your Facebook, from whatever you need to take a time out from. There's nothing wrong with taking a time out.
Me time.
Yes, me time. Today I took me time. I did things like clean out my garage this afternoon before the podcast. I colored my hair. Like, it was me time. Like, there was things that I did for myself. And it was amazing because it's boundaries that I have to remember that if I don't do these things for myself, I'm just going to become a hectic mess. So boundaries are okay. And don't ever let somebody treat you differently because you have those boundaries.
Right.
Don't ever let that happen. So that's my self-love thing for this week.
And that was Self Love with Elena E. Till next week, check in with us for Elena Z's Self Love Minute. All right, back to the podcast. So, other than that, I just want everyone to know, again, like, you're not alone and you are loved. Like, I love you. If someone hasn't told you today that you're loved, I'm going to be the first. Like, you're loved. Check it out. You're not alone. You're loved. And please share this. Please share this podcast with anyone and everyone, especially someone that you think would benefit from it. And please, we need your feedback and questions. Other than that, I think it's time to smash the like button and chop this thing up.
Heck yeah, smash that like button.
So would you like to introduce our guest today, Elena?
I do. So tonight's guests are two of my very, very good friends. So
Did you say Bubba Sparks?
yes. So that's a joke. That's my inside joke. So the first guest tonight is my really good buddy Drew, but I call him Bubba Sparks. And Drew, if anybody's listening, Drew is my buddy and he's a regular down over at Blaine Alleno. Say hi, Drew.
Hi guys, how you doing?
And then our other guest tonight is Monty, who is like my son, and I'm like his second mama. So he's here too. Say hi.
How's it going, everybody?
All right. Well, welcome you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kind of
All right,
excited,
well,
man.
that's a good show.
This is going to be a good show.
There we go. It's going to be a good
It's
show.
going to be a good show.
All right, well, Bubba, talk to me, Goose. How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. It was a little bit of a stressful day, but you know, I had some therapy today after work, and got to hang out with Monty here, a good friend of mine, and went out to dinner with some people. It was one of my friends' early birthday dinner, so we did that. We were gonna go to a store, but it was closed. We just drove around downtown until it was time to come here. And
How do you two know each other?
Oh God.
Go ahead.
We go way.
Back like my hairline? Talk to me.
About 3 years ago, I'd say.
Okay.
Yep, at the Blaine Alleno.
I think it was either a Thursday or Friday.
Friday.
So recovery.
Yep.
You guys know each other from recovery.
Yep.
All right. I kind of don't. I don't know why I want to jump right into it, but like Tad kind of gave me a synopsis of who you were. Said you were real monumental in getting a bunch of activities started in recovery.
Yes.
Talk to me about it. Like, tell us about it. What? First, let me just quick tell the audience. Like, we've always preached about this on the show, and it was huge for me in recovery to first, like at the beginning, to see that we can have fun in recovery. And coming into recovery, a lot of people don't think there's any life outside of the bar or dope or whatever. Like, whatever your DOC was, your alcoholic mind, I know it's tough because I know I see people now who are trying to get clean or sober, and the big thing is in the back of their mind, like it was in the back of mine, like, what am I going to do? Like, I get clean or sober, what's there to even do? Because life goes so long about I'm at the bar or drinking or whatever the case is. How did you come up with activities, and what made you do it, and what activities are there, and talk to me about it.
So early on, I found Blaine Alleno. I went on a Friday night to a young people's meeting. And from there, I met a group of people, and that's when I was invited. They said, hey, we got volleyball going on after. You should come out, you know. And
The Ham Lake one?
yep, Ham Lake Lanes. I believe it's even happening
I think it's happening tonight.
right now.
Yeah.
Advertise all them activities too. Like,
Yeah.
when is it? What day is it? Like,
Yeah, it's every Friday after the young people's meeting at Blaine Alleno. So the young people's meeting is at 8:08. Volleyball starts around 9:15, 9:30. I met some people there, got invited, I started going. Obviously, in the beginning, it was a little uncomfortable, you know,
Right.
getting to know new people, doing new things, not using while I'm doing them. I had a good friend of mine, though, that was sober with me that I knew from using, that I was going to meetings with, so it made it a little easier because I had a familiar face around.
Right.
And then from there, I got to know more and more people. And from there, it's just, you always want people to have something to do, you know. An addict or alcoholic's worst time is when we have too much time on our hands. If there's stuff going on all the time, you don't really have an excuse to not be doing something.
Right.
You know, we're both on mini pod bid for the actually down here,
What's
South
that?
Side, Minnesota Young People and Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay.
but it's kind of like a small Gopher State. It is aimed at young people, but it is considered young at heart. Anybody is welcome.
Is that the same as the volleyball? Anyone's welcome?
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
yep.
Anyone?
Any of the events we have, kids, adults, anybody. We want everybody to come and have fun, and we don't want anybody to feel left out just because
Right.
they have kids or, and we get
Kid
people.
friendly, all these events.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
And we get people up there sometimes that are, I've had people come up there that are actively using even just so they can kind of see what it's like, you know,
Right.
and I've invited them, people I worked with and stuff, like, hey, you should just come check it out, man. It might be for you, it might not be, but you're not
They
going to
might
know.
catch the bug.
Right,
Right.
Like,
Let's
wow,
see, might get
they
planted
have
in it.
fun.
right.
The thing is, that's crazy. First time I went there, like, I'm a pull tab junkie. Like, I probably need GA. Like, real talk, I probably need some Gamblers Anonymous. Man, fuck, I do need Gamblers Anonymous, all right? It's no different than, like, not wanting to be a junkie anymore. You've got to make that decision to turn it over and be like, I'm done. I'm not done yet. I went up there to meet, the first time I ever went up there was to play volleyball. And I don't really go to the north side meetings, like meaning up Blaine, Fridley, those ways. So like I didn't know any of you guys, and I went up there and I got caught up at the. I mean, here's the thing: is it's at a bar,
Yep.
bowling alley, volleyball outside and stuff. But like I went there, like I won $600 the first time I went. So like
boy.
for that whole summer, I think this was 2 or 3 summers ago. Like I went every single Friday. I would go to play pull tabs, but it was fun up there. Like it's at a bar, so people can come up there. Anyone can come up and see what's going on. And like, you guys are always having fun. Like you guys play till what time? Like
During COVID, they cut it back a little bit. I mean, 2 months ago, we played out in the rain with floodlights. They
Oh,
wouldn't turn
yeah.
the lights on. Somebody had floodlights in the car, and we're like, you know what? We're just gonna rig our own thing up, and we're still gonna have fun out here. We're
Oh,
gonna
wow.
keep it going because people need something to do on a Friday night instead of sit at a bar or sit at home and get high, you know. Or if it's raining, we'll go out to eat. We'll find something to do. We'll bust out some Cards Against Humanity or something at the Blaine Allen. We'll find something to do. That way people that want to stay and want to have that fellowship, or newcomers that want to meet people and just see what it's like, have something to do.
and they can do it then. They can do it there.
Yes.
Like and that's where. How long have you been? For 3 years now. You've been doing that, or
I think it's been going for longer.
Volleyball's been going for, I don't know exactly how many years. I know it's been more than 3 years though.
like you've been up there taking advantage of it for like all these past summers.
Yeah, I try to go as much as I can. It's one of my favorite nights of the week. I like that meeting. Volleyball's just, it's a fun time because we got people that are out playing, and then there's a group of people that sit up and they'll order food and just hang out, you know. So there's a little bit of something for everybody there.
That's kind of what I would do. But I'd order food, but also have pull tabs there. But mini pop. See, I didn't know you guys were involved with that. I know a few people that are. You guys are trying to get the bid to have it held here? Is that what that is, or did that just happen like 2 years ago or 3 years ago? Or talk to me about that. Like talk to our audience about what is it? And I know young people in recovery, but like what is it? What's involved in it? And talk to me about it, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, so from what I've learned from it, it's just a way to bring a conference here for young people to go have fun for a weekend and do something recovery related. I've gone to one so far, and it was amazing. There's dances, there's meetings the whole time, there's speaker meetings, there's sobriety countdowns, you name it. Like they got so many different things. You meet people from all different states. I went to an international one, and I've met people from Japan that didn't even speak English. And,
Oh yeah.
you know, they still come up and shake your hand, and it's awesome. You know, you get to see all these different people, and you get to see them as a group of not only young people, but there are old timers that come, and there's people that bring their kids there, and it's awesome because everybody gets together and they hang out and they have a good time. We are trying to bring it to this area because of a Wednesday meeting that was going on here we went to. It got kind of big. A sponsee of mine had some people get together and help them set it up. They got it together, started going, and we just kind of seen that maybe this area was a need for it.
Yeah.
'Cause
You
we
mean
seen it
like
growing?
here at 2218 or?
Just in this general area,
Oh,
like
the-
the South Minneapolis,
Yep, okay.
Minneapolis area.
Okay. So then, you said you're on the committee, or what did you say you're part of? Are you?
So we're putting in a bid. So basically what we'll do is we'll throw events. We'll get like a bid book, hotel contracts, try and get something set up in order for us to get it and have a location and throw it, you know. And it's a lot of being a service. You know,
Right.
there's a lot of service within that.
It's well worth it though.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
Definitely.
like that's what you would equate it to as like a Gopher State, but it's more. It's just young.
Yep.
Because I always heard young people, and like I'm this old cat that came into recovery, like I ain't welcome there. And it was Kyle, this kid named Kyle that I was at LP with, pretty Kyle. I think he's engaged now. Yeah, same Kyle. But this was a few years ago. But he's like, nah, Tim, you can come hang out too. Like I'm old, I'm here. It's what it is. Like young people at heart. Like
Yep.
you know, I think you hit it on the head. Like you don't have. It's not an age requirement.
No, not at all.
Like Alateen, that's for teenagers. This says young. Like there's no definition of what young is. Young at heart. That's what it is. Like I want everyone to understand that's what it is. And like you said, it's of service, correct?
Yep, it's all about being of service. It's just like setting up a meeting you're gonna run. You know, you need a chair, a treasurer, all that kind of stuff.
Secretary.
The only little difference is you're throwing a little more events than a normal meeting would. Yep.
Excuse me, too much soda. So, bringing up service. Like I know I'm jumping fast. Boom, 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 boom. Monty,
Yes.
talk to me about service. What service
Service?
look like in your recovery, and what's it play? Kind of a part does it play in your recovery?
Early on, service, the way it was described to me, was a way to give back to AA. And the way it was kind of hammered into my head was, you know, we can't keep what we got without giving it away. So
Right.
for me to do what I can, for even, you know, holding the door open at a meeting, making coffee, you know, doing the mini paw stuff, speaking at a meeting, that's going to help me in the long run stay sober.
It's like
And if I
taking
can-
insurance out on your recovery.
Right, yeah.
So, like, do you hold positions in meetings, or are you on the same committee?
Yep.
Like,
I do hold a position at I'm the events chair for Mini Paw, and then I'm the men's meeting chair at the 808.
so, talk to me about for the mini paw. What is like? How'd you get that position? I know a lot for us. It's like that's pretty basic. When I first came into these rooms, I didn't know. I sat in the corner and didn't know about becoming a chair, becoming a, you know, the coffee maker. Certain meetings had that, or a guy who set up chairs, or whatever. You know, like explain that process. How did someone come to you to ask, would you want this position? Did you volunteer? Did you get voted in? Did they just say it's yours? Like explain to the audience. Like walk us through that process.
Not gonna lie, the first service position first service work I ever did, I was voluntold to do it.
That's all it goes.
All right.
My sponsor told me that at the beginning. He's like, I need you to, you know, he suggested, you know, I want you to try to hit this many meetings, and I need you to try to find a position at a meeting as well. But yeah, that happens.
And it's at the end of the day, like it says in NA, you know, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. If I can sit here and be open-minded to some of the stuff that I'm being suggested, the willingness to do those things, and the honesty to fulfill those things,
Right.
and that's gonna help me. And if I can help other people, that's hell yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So you hold two positions right now.
Correct,
You chair a meeting, or what was that one at the 808?
So the 808, it starts off like a normal meeting, and then we kind of break off into groups. And I chair the men's meeting.
Is that NA?
It's AA, but
AA?
we don't really.
Okay, no, that's all good. Shit,
Yeah.
AA, NA, whatever, man. Like I was a junkie, man, and I went to AA for religiously for the first
recovery.
few years.
It's recovery.
Well, there's AA and there's NA and there's CMA and there is different fellowships. I was just curious, like, because that format usually that I've heard, you know, do all the readings, take a break and break up in the groups. That's usually been the NA meetings I've been to, but that sounds cool. This 808 meeting. Where's it at? When is it at? I imagine it's at 808, but go ahead.
It's at Blaine, Illinois at 808.
On Fridays?
Yep, on Friday nights. Yep.
So, and what's your position at that one you said?
The men's meeting chair.
The men's meeting chair. And the position that you hold is the event chair for Mini-Paw?
Yep.
So what does that mean? Like it's all on your plate on what events you guys are doing, or what does that mean? You have to come up with the ideas, or
So typically, what I do with that is I come up with an idea in my head, and then I'd like to bring it to the group, run it past them. If we, you know, hey, what about this idea? Can we do this or can we do that? We kind of put it to a vote. But at the end of it, it's kind of my job to call out to venues, see if we can hold the event there, kind of organize with
So it's some real responsibility.
a little bit. Yeah.
So you're calling business owners and shit like, hey, man, can we do this at your business? Right? Like, and that's what I try to, tell the audience. A lot of people listening don't have a clue about this stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is there's some people still, like, I don't know about saying on the fence about recovery, but they're still actively using. And, like, to come in here, like, you didn't have to do this, correct?
Nope.
But what's it do for your recovery by doing it?
It's keeping me humble. It's kind of reminding me that I can live happy and sober, and I don't have to do it while getting high or drunk.
What?
So, yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Whoa.
Speak on it, girl.
Say that again. I don't think the people out there heard that.
So service work service work is kind of a way to remind yourself that you can have fun and you can do all these wonderful things without getting high and drunk.
That's kind of the key to all this, right?
Hell yeah.
So,
I really like that you said that.
Thank you.
Because we can still have fun,
Hell yeah.
not using drugs or drinking alcohol. That's the amazing thing.
Personally attacked.
No,
don't
that's
care.
the amazing thing. So I met these guys not at the 808s, but I met these guys at the NA meeting. And the first place that I met Drew and
but yeah, first place you met Drew Monty
was at volleyball.
Oh, so there's even more facets to this thing of events. It's like you
Yes.
meet people.
Yes,
hell yeah.
the first place that I met Drew and Monty was at volleyball, and Drew and another one of our buddies became one of my best friends, and we hung out all the time, and we flippin' played video games. Like we were like best buds, and like we went on vacations together. We did all kinds of stuff, but then life happened, and life does happen. So I mean, that's just what happens. But we still keep in contact. Like, no matter what, like, if something comes up, I know that I could place one phone call and Drew would be right there. Like, that's what this family is. So, I mean, it's just crazy. And then to kind of change the subject just a little bit for a second here, just change the subject. But I found out that Drew works a block away from me. Drew works at a treatment center right next to the hospital where I work. So let's talk about your job, Drew, because you work at a treatment center, which is I'm going to say that it is a amazing experience, but also very challenging experience. So tell me about the treatment center that you work at, because we spoke there.
Yes. Yep.
We went
That's
there and
actually
spoke.
The first time I was there was that because of our other mutual friend.
Yep.
I had two good friends that worked there. One of them still works there. The other one moved up to a different job, still helping people, but he got offered another position. And before that, I worked at a treatment center too. This one was just going to be a little different. So I get to not only help people on a daily basis, it's also what taught me different ways to deal with addiction medicine that I didn't necessarily believe with when I first
Addiction medicine, like
Yep.
methadone or Suboxone, or what do you
Yeah.
mean? Okay.
Yep. I honestly, when I first got sober, I didn't really think it was being sober, But until I worked with a doctor that does it, and he kind of explained to me what it can do to help, I kind of understand it more, And I've never done heroin or nothing like that, so it was kind of not very good for me to judge people like that, 'cause
Yeah.
I've never been there,
So looking back at that, I'm gonna hold you up here, and we're gonna subtitle into that. So you were looking back at that. You were judging.
Yep.
Like at the
100%.
time, ignorantly judging, would you say?
Yeah, in recovery, it happens.
Right. No, I
Yep.
and people, I still do that.
We all do it.
I still do that. Like I just want to point this out to people. Like it happens, and I went to an opiate support group. God, I hate when I bring up shit that when it's not. I went to an opiate support group. Max ran it at Fairview. When we started the meeting, we'd open, and he would be like, here's the only two things that we're not going to bring up or talk about. And the first one was talking about whether you're clean or not if you're on Suboxone or methadone. Because and this was him. And this is basically his view on it, but I'm sure he sat through many people saying, you ain't sober, you ain't clean, but bottom line is you ain't, at that point in time, for the most part, you ain't shoving a needle in your arm, you ain't living that life as an addict junkie anymore with the help of something else. Because everyone has their own opinion on things. But who was it that helped you see a different side of it? It was a doctor, or who explained it to you?
So it wasn't only a doctor; it was also my sponsor and an old meeting I went to. I went to like a church kind of celebrate recovery meeting, and it's where people with all different addictions, sexual addictions, and everything. And even then, when I first started, I'm like, they ain't like me. This is way different.
Right.
And I go there for a couple of weeks, and I look at my sponsors going with me, and I was like, they're 100% have the same issues we do. It's no different.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me by surprise. And it's like, isn't that weird? How if you have an open mind, how you can relate things like that?
Yep.
You know, and it's a matter of, I come from a place of big judgment, and it's gotten better over the years, but it's never going to be perfect, and I'm never going to strive to be perfect, but as long as it gets a little better here and there, and I'm open to listening and understanding things, that's really what matters in those situations.
Right. Like, I think, like, you pointed out something real big is, me personally, like, I have a family member has an eating addiction, and she sometimes shares with other family members, like, and she's not compare, but puts herself with me. She's like, no, I'm in recovery like Tim's in recovery. In early recovery, I'm like, bullshit. I was shoving a needle in my arm. You're eating chocolate cake. Serious. Like, I had this judgment for like over a year until exactly my story is no different than what you just said. Like, I was around enough of these rooms. Like, addiction's addiction, bro. Like,
Yep.
sometimes it sucks to find out the hard way or see it that way, but like our own experience, and you have to find it on your own terms and your own path. But like, the bigger our circles become, whether it's, matter of fact, we're gonna have someone on the show who went, I believe it was the Emily Project, and that's gosh, I should make sure I'm correct in saying things like that, but it's for eating disorders. But he also is a junkie. Like, he's like, it's no different. Like, I'm addicted to that, or sex. Like, I always joke when I be like, I'm a sex addict too. But I don't have that kind of addiction like I could compare it to heroin. But he was explaining, it was him who opened my eyes to it like a few years ago with food. Some people, that's just how it is. Like isolating. Some people are addicted. Whatever it is, who am I to say? And we talked about this. I didn't open my mouth when you guys were sharing about it, but when you're in a meeting, sharing, and someone's got something slick to say to you, it's like, that's their problem. That has nothing to do with me. Just like with what we're sharing now. When someone else has their addiction, like whatever the problem is, like, who am I to say shit about it? That's their journey, their story. Like, that's for their own growth. That has nothing to do with my only growth is to shut up and listen and learn from it. Like, if they got a problem with me, that's a problem they have. They want to get up and leave during a meeting, that's on them. I don't even need to talk about it no more. But that's me. You learn about that shit to grow.
Monty just got up and left.
Yeah, because he's being I'm rambling on. All right, so then at your job, like, you're learning about all this growth, and you're with these different how did you put it? Addiction medicines?
Yep, he's considered an addiction medicine doctor.
All right.
So at this job, you're not a tech like you were at your last one.
No, I technically I work more for a doctor's office.
Okay.
They do psychiatry, therapy, addiction medicine, treatment. They kind of do psychological testing. They do like a little bit of everything in one spot.
Okay.
Yep.
I go in.
I drive by every day, wave at your car on my way to work.
You wave at his car.
Yeah,
you
I
dork.
look to see if he's outside, but he's not outside. But I see clients outside smoking, and I'm not going to stop and be like, "Go inside and get Drew." So I just keep going. I just keep going to the parking ramp.
Right.
So then, how long have you been at this job, or how long have you been in that field?
Altogether, between this one and the last one, a little over a year.
And you like it?
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's that part of, like Monty said, getting to give back, and in a sense, I'm being of service, but also getting to do something I enjoy and working in a recovery field, you know?
That's what I was gonna ask. Is like what has it like in that field? I don't know because I haven't had a job in that field. But what's that like for your recovery? Like, where does that? Does it even intersect with it? Do you grow with your job? Do you get stuff out of that helps with your recovery? And if so, like how?
Yeah, sometimes I'm not gonna lie, it can be very stressful, you know? And there's also times where, you know, I've sat down and listened to a client tell a story and it blows me away, you know? Him almost dying multiple times, and I'm like, wow. You know, I thought my life was like the worst and I had all these problems. Like my sponsor says, if everybody would put their problems in the middle of a table and could see them, you're taking yours back.
Right.
You know, 'cause you never know what somebody else is dealing with. But these guys come in sometimes out of prison, off the streets, and your sobriety time is just a number, you know? There's people with wisdom that don't have a lot of clean time. You just have to be open to
Yep.
listening and understanding that, you know, these people that come off the streets, they remind me of things every day. They remind me of not only why I started this, but of why I don't want to use again as well. You know, because I get to see them, and then you get to see that beautiful thing of them changing over that little bit they get sober. They hit that 30 day, that 60, that 90, and you're like, wow, man. You can tell them, like, look at how far you've come from the time you get in here. Do you remember doing this when you got here? And they're like, oh, let's not talk about that. You know?
Like, and this question is kind of for both of you guys. I had someone personally message me, and thanks everyone who reaches out with questions for our guests. And I think it's because of what you just shared, but let me pull it back up. Why does it do that? Okay, so it's worded wrong. How would you approach a situation of someone that comes in to the rooms that is new? How do you approach a situation when you have a newcomer in the room and they're judging? They're in there like, I ain't as bad as you. I ain't like, have you encountered it? If so, how do you deal with it, or how would you deal with it?
So that can be a sore subject, you know, because not always is it the best to call somebody out in the middle of a meeting, you know.
Okay.
The way I would sponsor it is sometimes if you have someone like that, it's best to pull them aside after the meeting and be like, hey, man, I understand where you're coming from, but if you want to change, this is the time where you got to have a little bit of an open mind, you know. Because I could tell everybody all the time, you know, like you said, I could say, I didn't stick a needle in my arm, I'm not an addict.
Right.
It's no difference, though. I was still addicted to the same thing. I just wasn't using it with a needle. It's no difference. An addiction is an addiction. You know, but you got to be careful with those subjects, you know. And anytime there's a newcomer, whether they want it or not, I try and get them some phone numbers.
Yep.
You know, even if they don't have the best attitude when they get there. You never know what's going on, man. They could be coming down. They could be actively using. They could have had something tragic in their life just happen. You never really know, you know. So sometimes you just got to have that little bit of patience and just take that time to be like, hey, man, I understand this is what's going on, but, you know, we're going to be here for you no matter what.
And, like, you've learned this over time.
Yes, not right away. It wasn't, you know, I'd be like,
You weren't
look
guruing
at this
it
guy.
right away?
He's
Yeah.
What is he coming in here all bent out of shape for? And then people would get me to understand, especially my sponsor. He'd be like, hey, you don't know what's going on in his life today.
And
You know?
things like that, like, and I should be asking you, but those are situations like I've been able to take from recovery. I apply that in the real world daily. Like, you get this, I don't want to say the C word, you get a really bitchy type of, some lady, some cash register lady or someone.
Why does it always have to be a lady?
So you get some asshole, some dude working at Mickey D's.
Okay.
And he's just being a prick to you, being all short with you, and you're just being a real asshole. Like, it's quick for me to jump back at this guy and be like, well, fuck you. But recovery is, as long as I pause, I think about it. But, like, those are situations where I'm like, first of all, he's not making shit for money. Like, he probably really needs this job to be here, period. Especially if it's not some young person. And then like like their dog could have got killed, like their dad could have got sent to prison. Like there's so many things in other people's lives that, like, yeah, it ain't for me to make that my problem, but I need to start remembering that type of stuff. Like, I don't know what their side of the street looks like. Who am I to just snap off if they're having a bad day? Like, we all have bad days. Closed mouths don't get fed, and that goes for those type of things. Like, someone's having a bad day around, or if I'm having a bad day and I'm short with someone, like, Elena's not going to know that unless I tell her. And it's for me to, I got to be open with people. So how do you deal with situations with newcomers? And because in young people's meetings, I can imagine, I shouldn't be judging. I know the few young people's meetings I've been to, like, emotions sometimes seem to be a lot higher or more raw. Like, how do you deal with situations like that, especially holding a position at a young people's meeting?
The way that Drew and I were both sponsored, because we share a sponsor, the way that him and I kind of got it was, we've all been there.
Yep.
I came into AA for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm 18 years old. I'm not like any of these people. And then here I am, 3 years later? It's kicking back. I'm 22. Or 21, sorry.
Yeah, you're not 22 yet.
Getting there. Kicking back, drinking coffee, and hanging out with the newcomers and the old timers. Like, the way that we should go about that is, treat them the way that you would want to be treated when you first came in.
Right.
Because I can guarantee you, if I came in and, so rewind, the very first meeting I went to, Andrew was the first person to ever come up to me. Andrew and another like-minded individual. They were the first two people to greet me at a meeting, and I can honestly say that if no one did that, if they weren't as welcoming, I don't know where I would be. Right. Because the recovery that we were so honored to get is welcoming, it's loving, it's caring. If we didn't have any of that, it would suck.
Do you find yourself going out of your way to try to greet newcomers the way someone greeted you?
Yeah.
Like, out of the blue, like you recognize and remember how that was? Like, I asked because I know a few years in, like, I still forget them type of things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do the best that I can. I mean, I understand, like, there are days where I'm like, man, fuck this.
You're right.
I'm not having it.
Case of the fuck.
Yeah. And, there are times where I'm not always on top of it. But when I am, I try and, hey, how are you doing? My name is Monty. If you're new here, I can introduce you to a couple people who are solid in my recovery, and I think they might be good for yours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just came from Woodwork for recovery, and I was tired.
Me too.
I just ran around all day, I was tired, so I got in there, and 50, 60 people show up there on a Friday, and a good friend of mine, Dustin, was in there. Being irritating in my mind. At the time, it was just kind of irritating because he's going up to he started at the one end and went to every single person. Was like, hey, I'm Dustin, what's your name? I'm glad you're here. Hey, I'm Dustin, what's your name? I'm glad you're here. Mm-hmm. And
that's Dustin.
Like, after about the 40th person, I started doing it. I was like, get outside yourself, Tim. Go do that. Go in there. Like, it means a lot to someone. And this goes for anyone listening or who's going to listen. Like, go out of your way to welcome someone. Because I can assure you and tell you from personal experience tonight, like, I wasn't in a good mood. I was tired. Didn't want to be doing no recovery shit tonight. By the time I was to the fourth, fifth person, I was loud and irritating. Hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm Tim. And then, of course, Ashley's like, hey, anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Ashley. Like, that shit's contagious. And it does. It lightens. It's the morale thing. Like, it brings the room up. It's exciting. Shut up, Elena.
No, I completely agree. Because when I go to a meeting, but I'm a little different.
Yes, you are. Oh, you mean on this subject? Okay.
Whoa.
We also can joke in recovery.
Whoa.
Okay.
So when I go to a meeting, I know most of the people that I go to meetings with, and if I don't, I'm gonna find a way to get to know somebody because I feel like we need to know everybody that we're in a meeting with. But when I see somebody come into a meeting and their head is down or they're trying to find the chair in the back of the room or they're trying to like find like at Blaine we have the half measures chair.
I was just about to say that.
The what?
We have the half measures chair, which
Never
is
heard of it.
it's the chair that's right by the door, so that way you can sneak out
what you're saying.
and nobody else can stop you. You don't have to walk past everybody. It's the half measures chair.
That's true. You can't sneak out of there. That door
You
is
can't
locked as
sneak
hell.
out. You can't, because everybody, the moment somebody moves to go get coffee, go to the bathroom, anything, everybody's turning and looking to see what the heck you're doing. Because it's like we all have ADHD and we got to see what's going on. But if I see you walk in the building and you look like you're brand new, I'm all about it. I'm going to say, hi, welcome. Is this your first time here? What can I do? Do you want some coffee? Do you need a meeting schedule? Like, what's going on? Like, I want to know who that person is, and I want them to feel welcome. I might not give them a hug because of the pandemic we're in right now, but I will make everybody feel welcome that walks through the door. Just because that's just the way that I want everybody to feel. And it wouldn't matter if it was at Blaine, where is my home place, or if it was here at 2218. That's just, I don't know, that's just what I like.
It's just how you do.
Yeah. Because when I first started going to Blaine after my big relapse, that's the welcome that I got. People welcomed me. Some of them were smart Alex, which turned into my really good friends, but they still welcomed me. So, and I mean, I don't know. I'm beyond grateful for the friends that I've made at Blaine Alleno.
Blaine Alleno, big plug for Blaine Alleno. Speaking of that, tomorrow we've got a barbecue. Is that Fridley Alleno?
Fridley Alleno
At
has
what time is it? They have a barbecue fest, a rib fest tomorrow?
Starts at noon.
At
Yep.
noon tomorrow, Fridley Alleno. We got barbecue fest going on.
it's a rib fest,
Rib fest.
comedy
There's a couple bands.
comedy show and bands.
See, these Allenos, we get it done.
I heard it's a
telling you.
comedy show. Is
I'm
it a
not gonna
comedy
be
show?
there, so there's no professional.
I don't
comedy.
know
was gonna
100% if there's a comedy show. I just know there's bands.
I got another question.
Just
that came
ignore
in.
me.
No, you're good. I got another question that came in, and this is for all three of
Gotcha.
the panel. I'm not the panel. You're looked at as a guest apparently by this person.
Woohoo!
So, and this is crazy. I go to a men's meeting at New Hope, Alleno, and like this comes up all the time in the meetings. And I think it's because we're also talking about. We'll just go around the table. We'll start with Bubba.
Bubba Sparks!
Sparks. All right. So, do you seem to win? We'll word it this way. Versus, because I think I should know the answer for most everyone now, but versus when you came in the rooms to today, do you seem to find yourself looking at similarities or differences? And if so, like, elaborate. Go ahead.
So in the beginning, it was definitely differences.
Like, I ain't like him,
I'd
or
find
that.
some to be like, I don't know if I belong here because this person's here, or they're doing it this way. You know, this person looks like this person uses like that, this person uses alcohol, I use meth. I'd find any, early on I would try and find those little things. And now I don't really notice myself. I mean, I'm sure still every once in a while I do, but now more I look for those similarities. Like, what can I relate to this person sharing or this person's story? Because then that builds a connection between me and this person on a level more than just acquaintances at a meeting.
Right.
You know, that's something I can break the ice with somebody I don't know and be like, hey, I've dealt with this too, and even if it's like a problem, then I have someone else that's dealt with it, and we can kind of bounce back on each other. Like, this is what worked for me. This is what didn't work for me. I have a good friend of mine who I reached out to after somebody I used to sell drugs to died at a young age. And I reached out to one of my friends, and he said, he's like, if you need anything, if you want to sit down, he's like, I've dealt with something like that. And he's like, we'll let you know, kind of how I dealt with it, and we'll see if it helps, But he said I can at least be there and, kind of relate. And it's
Like
nice
network.
to have that,
Yeah. Like a networking situation.
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody that knows that same situation and knows what you're dealing with.
Right. Makes it a lot more comfortable.
Yes.
So, also kind of elaborate on that is, do you feel like when you were in early recovery and you'd walk in these rooms, like, was Was that a way of your head trying to give you an out or an excuse not to have to be there, or like, you see what I'm saying? Like, how do you see it that, like, how do you see yourself? And I don't know if this is just too philosophical or going too deep or we don't need to. I just try to present a question where, like, if someone in early recovery finds themselves only noticing differences, like, yeah, I wasn't shoving a needle in my arm, I ain't that bad. Is that, how do you know what I'm asking?
Mm-hmm. So what I found is it's not a matter of who did what. You know, I may not use a needle, but I tried to get just as fucked up as anyone that did. Only reason I didn't use needles is because I don't like needles. I have all these tattoos, but I don't like needles.
So,
Don't
like,
ask me how it works, but-
you're talking about similarities right now.
Yep,
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
boom.
So I find you can always find some, even if it's a little similarity.
As easy
you
as
know?
it was to find the differences, you can flip it.
Yep, and it
look
was
at-
easier when this time around in recovery. The first time I tried to get sober, I was 17.
Okay.
So I was kind of a little shit, you know.
How do you know? About 55, 60?
26.
Oh, okay. 26. All right. Yeah.
I mean, you're still a little shit.
Yeah, that early, you know, I was trying to find everything, you know, because
Right.
then I would use that. I'd go to my dad's on the weekend, and I'd be like, well, now I can use because this, and this, and this. And that second time I got into recovery, it was just a little different. Like, I came in, and I was like, I knew what I had to do different than the first time because I knew it didn't work, you know. So, and the second time, and this, well, I should say this time, the last time I came into recovery, I also came in with a different attitude. You know, I was 100% ready to get help and be done with the life I was living, and I was willing to do what I had to do and what was suggested to do so.
So you're like, I'm done.
Yeah,
You gave up.
yeah,
kind
I
of.
was surrendered. You know, I was
Surrendered.
ready to not do things my way because my way obviously isn't the best way.
Mm-hmm.
There's other people out there with the knowledge of doing things differently that can probably give me a hand and teach me a lot of things if I just become teachable.
There you go. Remain teachable.
Yes.
We're in a goals group, and that's one of the big things that people talk about. One of their goals is to remain teachable. Like, and that can go from a day. We talk about all we have is today. Like,
Yes.
you work on that just for today. Remain teachable. And then we're going to go back to a question about being teachable, but I want you to answer on that same question
Similarities and differences.
of similarities and differences. Talk to me about your experiences with that.
So I can kind of relate with Drew about the whole coming in there and struggling with the differences because, you know, I came in and I was like, I am nothing like you guys.
I ain't that bad.
Right? I don't have a problem.
Right,
I don't.
right.
But I'm just gonna see what it's about. And then I was probably after that first meeting, I was like, yeah, shit. Boy, was I wrong. And you know, the first few months, the first few, you know, times that I was going to these meetings, it was, I don't really know everything that everyone else does. I don't know how this kind of stuff works. I wasn't
Right.
sure until it came to the point where I'm like, okay, maybe I should start seeing that we are all the same. I heard something in a meeting once where it said, I think my sponsor says it a lot too. We aren't unique. We all battle with the same shit. You know?
Right.
I can walk into a meeting and relate with someone who's twice my age, someone who's 3 times my age. I can relate to females. I can relate to someone that I don't even know.
Like, you can find the similarities.
Correct.
In anyone in the room.
Correct. Because we all struggle with an addiction of some kind, be it sex, gambling, drugs, alcohol.
I thought you were gonna say rock and roll, but okay. That would have went.
I'm a musician, so
There
I mean,
you go.
But yeah, it's instead of looking at, I don't know, we're all here to work together. It's a
Right.
we program.
We.
And honestly, if we started working separately against each other, how is that beneficial at all?
Nothing would work.
Nothing would work. Exactly.
Everything would crumble underneath us.
That's right.
Like a cookie.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I was told to make sure you guys don't get off on that old funny shit like you're about to start doing.
Yeah.
Crumbling like cookies.
No funny,
I'm joking.
no
I
funny
was like,
business.
goddamn.
Don't listen to her or Tad, any of that shit. You keep it coming. We like laughter. So, like, your big thing is, like, someone had to tell you, correct? Did I hear that right? Like, someone told you, like, you can find yourself in anywhere in the room basically.
Yeah.
Whether it's this big or I gotta not do that on the air. No one sees me doing this. So if it's like an inch big or like 10 feet big, like you can find the similarities in it.
At the end of the day, like back in
It's the girl doing the dirty shit
Right.
now.
get your shit together, Elena.
Get
Come on.
your shit together, Elena. See, now you
Shit,
threw
I
off
forgot
the
what I was gonna
guess.
say.
We can find little things or big things, and anyone in the room,
Small
we can find the
differences.
similarities.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
small
getting
similarities
there.
and
I'm
big
getting there.
Yeah.
You know, back when I was using
It's getting warm in here.
and drinking, like I thought it was king shit. It was my way or the highway. If you don't got what I have, or
Kick
if you don't
rocks.
have what I want,
Right. If
Get
you don't have
lost.
what I want or need.
and so for me to open up my eyes and kind of listen and hear that, how can I be king shit if someone twice my age has the exact same story that I do, or a female that I've never met in my life has the exact same story that I do, or someone who's younger than me has gone through almost the exact same
Big
stuff.
piece of humble pie.
Correct.
You got to eat.
And it's, it's kind of like, it's amazing. And I'm grateful that I've had that eye-opening experience, because at the end of the day, it kind of like what Drew was saying, we got to remain teachable.
Right.
So
I should be writing this down. Elena, similarities and differences. When you came in the rooms, what was your experience with them versus now? Yeah, if you need to hit the head, go straight back. You're good. That
So-
would be the John, the toilet, the bathroom.
So this is just with the rooms.
No, in your life, whatever. Like when you came into recovery, because it sounds like a big topic and an issue with a lot of people. Is like in early recovery, it seems like a lot of people are looking at I ain't like them, all these differences versus the similarities. Like is what saves their life. Realizing.
So when I came into the rooms, it didn't matter. Because
mean?
it didn't matter if you had purple hair, if you wore green and yellow, like it didn't matter to me what or who you were. Because if you were an addict or an alcoholic, you were just like me, and I wanted to know everything. Because that was what kept me sober and clean. Now, as I've gotten further along, I've kind of changed my view of things. When I'm in a room, I want to hear what everybody has to say. And I don't mean to sound like selfish or anything like that when I say this, but when I'm outside of a room, I'm a little bit different, because what I take outside of the room with me and what I take into my life of recovery is different, because I love being around all of the people in the rooms because they help me stay sober inside of the rooms. But I need people that are continuing to work a program and continuing to do what they need to do outside of the rooms in order to keep me sober and keep me on the right path. So I'm very selective with what I do outside too. So like I've kind of changed as time has gone by.
So you've evolved in a way.
Yes.
Okay. So then it has changed.
It has changed. Unfortunately, but that will never change how I feel when I go into a room. I will talk to every single person in a room, but when it comes to like it's just, I have a small circle. I have a small circle for a reason. That's just me. But when it comes to talking to people about recovery, I'm an open book, because recovery, if we don't talk about it, we're not going to recover. We have to keep talking about it.
You're not gonna.
You be quiet.
We can't. You got to unless you got.
This is a we program.
Yeah, you
We.
ain't got no turd in your pocket.
We. Don't worry about what's in my pocket.
Okay.
We.
Okay. 10:06.
It's 10:06 already. You know what that means?
What's that mean?
That means that it is time to, I don't know. Just kidding. It's time for some tidbits with Timmy.
I wish we had that music. Ted had some banging music.
It's time
last
for
week.
some tidbits
No,
with
no, he had that-
Timmy.
What God? What was that music? It was it was not Tiger Woods. Whatever. It was good music he had.
Tidbits.
All right, so why do fathers take an extra pair of socks with them when they go golfing?
Oh God.
In case they get a hole in one.
Oh Jesus.
Ah, yeah. So this week with my tidbits, what I'm going to talk about, and this comes from a conversation every day. I have people in recovery in my life. Period. I've got certain people that reach out every day. I reach out to blah blah blah. Dustin's one of them. Like, he makes calls to people. I talk to him quite a bit throughout the week, and we were talking, and we always talked recovery for the most part. Like, we went and saw Bill Burr a few weeks ago. Like,
Oh, hell yeah.
that was just fun. Like, we do fun in recovery. But we're part of the same goals group. I don't even know how it got brought up, but like, he worded it as cancers. And I don't know, it was basically getting rid of the negatives in life. What this is going to consist of is getting rid of the cancers in my life. I wrote down a list of people, places, and things that I feel are cancerous in my life. Ones that aren't working on solutions. I have to start weeding them out. Or I've already begun to weed them out. Or I figure it out over time. Because with me, like, I'm always been real, I can go in the middle of any room and I will, whether I'm making friends with them or not, I'll look like an ass, but I'll talk to anyone, and I can flow with whatever conversation's going on for the most part. But, like, I've got a really big circle of acquaintances. Not the biggest circle of close people. But when I'm around people that are negative, people that aren't working on a solution, people that want to just consistently bitch about the problems in their life. Like, for example, someone that's like, boo-hoo, poor me, this, that, and the third, instead of, no, I don't want to use that example. Here's a better one that was talked about today. Someone at work bitching about the job for over a half hour. Like, it was worded this way, like, ABC's hiring, John Doe's hiring. This is what's being said to this person bitching. Like, instead of sitting there spending all this time bitching, where's the solution in that? You're not bitching about a solution. You're bitching about the job, period. What good does that do? Where's there any growth in that? Like, it took me a while to figure out that is the solution I need. It's like, I can't surround myself with people that are that negative, because me personally, I will find myself bitching about the problems in my life instead of working on them. Like, old man, I can't say that. Bob, my fishing buddy, he will be real good about reminding me, like, this is an old timer in the program with 20 plus years who is good about always saying, like, well, what's the solution? No matter what it is. Because there's a solution in everything. Mm-hmm. Family's sick, like, and I'm really down about it. Someone that you really care about or love is in addiction and you don't want to see him like that anymore. Instead of crying about it and boo-hooing, what's the solution? Sometimes you got to weed out your own family. That happens. Because at the end of the day, like, I can't worry about your recovery. I'm here if you want to come along for the ride, but I can't worry about anyone else's recovery but mine. Once mine's on, once I got it under control, like I said, come along for the ride. But if you are not in the solution, I want nothing to do with you. And it's a harsh statement to say, but I'm here for you when you want to start talking about solution. Like, it's not like you're cut off for good, because we all grow. I was a piece of shit. Now I don't feel I am a piece of shit as much. But that's what this whole program, to me, that's what this whole program's been, is about growth. Like, I just learned a lot. I went on a trip. I just learned I enjoy doing things that I didn't know I even enjoyed doing. And how was I going to know without doing it? Unless I could have spent too much time on the phone hearing about a friend's problems for too long. Like, that's time wasted. You can't pay me for my time type of shit. So, like, at the end of the day, like, I got to weed out the cancers in my life. I will not grow if I am surrounding myself with negative shit or people that are negative. So that was about it. I mean, it's pretty common sense. But I'll find myself getting caught back up in the shit because, hey, it's fun to bitch about things. Huh, Elena?
No.
Yeah, we do it. We get caught up on the phone doing that shit all the time. Bitch about other people, bitch about this meeting, bitch about going here, about the weather, blah, 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 blah.
Who does that?
We do that shit on the phone together. I do it to you. We do it. We catch ourselves doing
Why
it.
you gotta call me out like
I
that?
don't sit and talk to the phone to Bubba Sparks and my man over here. Come on, man. Just play along with me.
This is my bitch friend.
So basically, I don't, as long as I stay aware, like I'm going to try my best to not keep negatives in my life. Better said is people that aren't in the solution. Like I will try to be there to remind them like, hey, there's a solution, or hey, what can we do about a solution here? Versus hopping on board and bitching about it. Like, because I'm guilty of that shit. I really, truly am. All right, so...
Oh God, he's already laughing.
Yeah, what did baby corn say to mama corn? Where's popcorn?
Oh God.
Wait, I'm gonna laugh. Ready?
Yeah. That's what dad jokes are about, asshole. What does a sprinter eat before a race?
What?
Nothing. They fast.
Oh God. Oh God.
We done? You guys got? I thought you had a couple.
I don't have any this week.
Monty, you got any dad?
Where do fruits go on vacation?
Where?
Paris.
Oh God.
All right, is that it?
That's it.
And that was Tidbits with me.
Oh my gosh.
Back to your regularly programmed, scheduled program. Da 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 da.
You are so.
All right,
I
bring
want
us
to.
in, Elena.
I am. So I'm gonna just share something off of what you were just talking about because I really like that you shared that because one of the things that I've struggled with. So we're just gonna talk about sponsorship for a minute because
You've got a great sponsor.
I do. I have a great sponsor.
I mean, she's not on here supporting us, but hey, what the hell? She's a good sponsor.
Well, she had some problems
I
today.
I was being an ass.
Well, no, her dog had surgery today.
Ooh,
Yes. My poor Trouble. That's his name, Trouble. He's
trouble. I like
yes. He's okay, everybody, just so you know. So one of the things that I've struggled with being a sponsor myself is sponsees that will call me with problems and they don't like it when I ask them, what is your solution? And they'll be like, well, what do you mean? Well, you have a problem. What is your solution? Well, and then they'll go into telling me more and more about their problem. Well, what are you going to do to fix it? How are we going to rectify this? What are we going to do about it? And they just don't like that. But I'm all about what are you going to do about it? So like when I have a problem, I always come up with a couple different solutions on how I'm going to find a way to fix it. And
If you remember to.
no,
Always? That's
I
just
always,
your go-to?
yeah, even if it's not fixable, I always try to brainstorm solutions. So that's been one of my problems this week is that I can't fix my dad.
Right.
Like, that's the big problem. I can't fix my dad. No
Right.
matter what I do, I can't fix him.
Right.
So, like, it's making my brain go 100 miles per hour, which is why I'm trying to keep myself busy with meetings and other things because otherwise,
Interrupt your thoughts.
yeah, I'm trying to interrupt everything right now.
Right.
So, and I did talk to my sponsor this morning, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep myself busy. I'm trying to I've been on the phone all day talking to people. I've been going back and forth. So yeah, I'm just like going absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's one of the things that I just wanted to share because of that.
So, the solution. Monty.
Yes.
Bubba Sparks. Dude, you don't care I call you that, do you? Is she the only one that calls you that?
No, I'm pretty sure Wes called me it for a little bit too.
I've never.
Wes called you Bubba Sparks.
Look at her getting jealous.
Probably once when you were
Look at her.
around.
That was her being like, that's bullshit. That's my name for you. Other people can't call
So
you that. Am I
Wes,
wrong?
so Wes, now that he said his name, so Wes is the other friend that it was me, Wes, and Drew. We were like the Three Musketeers, and then Wes went off and started doing his own thing, and now he's got a big boy job, and
Oh, so he's doing good.
yeah, he's doing great.
Because the way you're talking is
He's doing great.
Okay.
In fact, I don't know if he's
Is he
listening, but he
listening?
got 4 years the other day.
All right,
like,
Wes.
yes.
Way to go.
He's doing great.
All right.
He's got like this big beard on his face. I saw him the other day. He's doing great.
Okay.
I only say his name because I'm good friends with him and I know he wouldn't mind. So
Yeah.
just wanna let people know.
I used to come home and these two would be sitting on my couch already playing video games,
Playing
waiting for
Monopoly
me.
on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's our life.
The recovery way, because then you can't flip the board.
Yeah, that is good. So Monty, talk to me about solution.
Solution.
Does that come up in your day-to-days? Has anyone reminded you, like, hey, bro, what's the solution? Or, like, is that something that you've had experience with? Or am I the first one to bug you about it?
No, solution, the way it was brought to me was you gotta go to a meeting and when you first come into the rooms, see what you can get out of it. But there comes a point in your recovery where you gotta start giving back to it. And
That's right.
so the way that my sponsor kind of brought it to my attention was speak on whatever it is the topic is. Speak on whatever your heart's burning with. You know, speak on something.
Like,
And
be part of.
Be part of it, yeah.
Okay.
And as long as you can leave that meeting knowing that you did the best that you could on that topic or whatever it is, or you touched someone's life with what you said, that's money right there. That's gold.
That solution in your mind.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Talk to me about solution. Bubba.
Today I had to deal with solution. Sitting down with my therapist. You know, my grandparents are in town. I'm a busy man. You know, I do a lot of things in recovery, whether it's with my friends, meetings, working. You know, usually I keep myself pretty busy. And I brought it up to her. I noticed myself starting to get that tired, irritable discontent. You know, which mainly it was tired. You know, because sometimes I don't think about the time. I'm out having fellowship, and I'm like, oh, it's 2 a.m. I got to get up in 4 hours. Like, what am I doing? You know, so I've been a little tired this week, you know, and right away when she asked me there, she's like, how are you doing? And at first I was like, all right. And then I'm like, but I'm really stressed out. Because I knew I was just going to leave it with the all right if I didn't just jump and say what was really going on. But for me, living in the solution is knowing and being able to notice those things and when I need to change them. You know, like today, I noticed myself getting a little crabby, just a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? What is going on? Why am I like this? What can I do to change it? You know, this is where I take that little bit of inventory and try and figure out what's going on. What can I do to fix this? Because at the end of the day, it is a me problem.
That's right.
You know, so my solution is I need to start getting to bed earlier. You know, maybe I need to cut back on a little bit of fellowship. You know, it's not going to hurt to make sure I'm home by 10, 11 o'clock. You know, I still have plenty of time to go to meetings and fellowship. But for me, a meeting is all about solution.
Right.
Whether it be somebody talking about a problem they're having or somebody sharing about a step. You know, you find some sort of solution in all of that. Because 90% of the time somebody shares something in a meeting, people gather around that person after the meeting to see what they can do to help.
Right.
So there's always some sort of solution in every meeting. And that's what I look for in those meetings. 'Cause that's the most important part of the meeting is finding the solution. We live in the solution. That's part of recovery.
That's right.
You know, and for 23 years, I didn't live in any kind of solution. I lived in my own way, doing my own thing, being selfish, 100% selfish, you know, and those are things I had to learn how to change by doing step work. It wasn't just meetings. It was digging into that book, looking at myself, doing that 4th and 5th step, getting through, seeing all those problems I thought were everybody else's problems against me, and realizing that there's always a part in those things that I did as well. You know, so there's always something I can look at in myself and find some sort of solution for any problem I have.
So to the situation of you realizing that you're like irritable, discontent, like getting shitty, did you, John, what up, John? John A, he's on here giving Elena guff. Sorry, I kind of sidestepped, but I'm coming
you're
back
fine.
to that. Tammy, thank you everyone who's checking in. I wasn't seeing anyone who's on this whole time.
That's
feed.
That's because you were on the wrong one.
No, I know it. My feed had like 10 or 8 people, then 1 people, whatever the case is like John A is like, I love this dude. He's always in such the best mood. And
John Anderson, he's my buddy.
I wasn't gonna really put his last name
Oh,
out there,
well,
but hey, go ahead.
Well, it's on there.
I understand.
John
but
A,
whatever.
that's
Thank
my
you
buddy.
Guys all for the support. Like I haven't seen anyone who was on. I haven't seen anyone's messages. I'm
We got
sorry about
Krista,
that.
Matt,
quite a few. So,
Pam.
you realizing when you're in those moods, like how long does it usually take for you? I'm asking for personal experience, like personal questioning here is like when you're just shitty like that, like how long before you're like, what can I do to make it go away? Or is it instant now? Or like, how does that play out for you?
It still depends. It's not always instant. Sometimes I can catch it right away. Sometimes I'll notice if I'm being a little short with somebody at first. Sometimes I don't notice till after, and I end up owing somebody a 10-step and an amends.
Right.
You know, and that's just the fact of it. Is sometimes that does happen, and sometimes I do have to take that inventory and come back and be like, hey man, I have this going on. I shouldn't have done that. I hope you can forgive me. This is what I'm going to do differently next time.
So it's more or less taking some so like running through it, taking some inventory. When it comes to self, I mean, like,
Yeah.
like we don't want to be selfish no more, but there's a difference between that and some Elena's self-care. Like,
Yes.
so for you kind of run the tents, yeah, you do a little inventory and realize like, why am I so like I shared about this last week. I was getting pissed off about minor shit, and it was lasting for like an hour.
Right.
All I could do was interrupt my thoughts, like we talked about. But running the steps is like what this thing teaches you,
Yep.
and that's helped you.
Yeah, that's what I've learned. My sponsor, on the way through my steps, he'd tell me like how I worked each step during my day, even after step work. He'd be like, "Look at how you this. We sat down to do step work.
He would
you
point it out
admitted
to you?
step 1,
Right.
And I'm like, oh wow, I really did, you know. And I notice it now to this day. Sometimes I do all 12 steps within a day. You know, if I'm going to a meeting, I'm doing 12-step work, and I have something in my life I need to do a 10-step for. Like I try to do one every night. Obviously, I'm an addict. It don't always happen, you know. But I try to figure out every day, like, what did I harm myself or anybody else today? Like, what could I have done differently today that could have impacted myself or someone else in a negative way?
Right.
You know, because that's, like I said, that's where that amends comes in, where I need to go back and be like, you know, this is what I did, this is what I'm going to do differently. And sometimes it don't work right away. You know, that's why we do these steps. We knock that 2 off and go back to 1. Because there might be things later on in my 4th step that I realize I've done over the last however long I've been sober. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to do these during my 10th step. You know, that's why I do
Right.
that 4th step again, because now that gets added to that and I keep moving.
So these steps are in your day-to-day.
Yes.
This, you really do this. Your life is recovery.
Yes.
Like you realize this gives you a better life.
Oh, 100% better life. 100%.
So, how long have you been clean and sober, Drew?
About 3.5 years. My sober date's May 20th, 2018.
Woohoo!
Attaboy.
At Monty,
Yes.
so I know your story. Other people don't. So, how long have you been clean and sober?
37 days.
Nice job, bud.
Yeah, buddy.
That's awesome, buddy.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
So Monty,
Yes.
talk to us. Talk to us. No, I'm joking.
Well, this one time at band camp.
This one time at band camp.
Whoa, I don't want to know.
It's not that kind of podcast. It's after hours.
It is after 10 o'clock. You can talk
Okay.
dirty.
Well, okay, so this one time.
No, no,
Oh,
there's
Elenas. So, hang on.
People are laughing.
there's there's family on here.
Is
Don't.
there? Okay.
People are throwing laughs in
Yeah, I
there.
just anyone listening.
Only Joel did it.
Yeah. What up, Joel? I'm glad you're supporting us.
Joel laughs at
Anyone
everything.
that I haven't said or what, like I said, I'm real sorry. Just know we support. We love the support. We love you. And again, Elena's gonna throw the 2218 link up there. Any support is greatly appreciated. Like I talked about it earlier, I'll talk about it now. It's that 2218 is monumental in saving my life. They didn't close the doors during COVID, and I'll forever have a debt of gratitude for this place. And like
Hell yeah.
always have this internal, like, I feel I owe this place. In a way, I know that they're here for everyone, but they just didn't close the doors during COVID, and that saved my life. Like, it saved my life, and it's here to save anyone's life who wants to walk through these doors. They don't turn any addict, alcoholic, anyone away.
That's right. And you know what? There's a few other things that are coming up pretty soon.
Speak on it.
So I don't know if anybody. So there's a few things that are coming up soon. Not here at 2218, but if anybody wants to know about some events that are going on, if you go to NA Minnesota, you got to actually type out Minnesota, but naminnesota.org. There's a few Halloween parties coming up since we are in Halloween month, and then November 6th. Saturday, November 6th is the fall ball up in St. Cloud.
Fall ball?
Not that kind of ball.
Whoa.
So there's the fall ball up in St. Cloud. They didn't have one last year, but it's really fun. I mean, you get dressed up. It's an actual ball. You get to go there. It's sober. It's fun. It's clean. I mean, it's something to do. I do believe that you do have to buy tickets in advance. So, I mean, you can go online and you can check that out. I mean, there's lots of fun things to do that are coming up. And don't forget, we also we have bingo at Blaine Alleno next month. I mean, there's lots of fun things to do. Drew knows about bingo. He'll be there next month.
Well, always a good time. There's always food before too.
Yep, and there's always food. Who says no to food?
And the meeting. I should bring up the meeting too. It's not just about the food.
Yeah,
I don't know. It depends on the kind
might
of
as well
food.
get some recovery. You know what? We've had Jesse E. and Rick B. on the show, and they're going to become kind of a staple on this program moving forward. We're going to have them at least once every other month moving forward, and we're going to tackle step by step on this show. But they were on the show way back when I think we were upstairs, or even before we
They'll
went
be
upstairs.
here in 2 weeks.
They are here in 2 weeks. Yeah. Awesome. So they do a by the book 4-step workshop every Wednesday here at 2218. It's the workshop is a continuous nonstop 7-week process that occurs every Wednesday, and you can join at any time. Like, you can show up on the last day they're doing it. It's a 4th step. Just bring a big book, paper and pencil. If you don't have a big book, speaking of that, if you don't have a big book, basic text, any literature that you want, if you can't afford it, just reach out to me personally. My phone number's on here. I will help find the money to get you a book. Like,
What's a big book?
it's Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. That is the textbook to my successful life today,
Oh,
along with the basic text.
Okay.
These are just tools that we use in recovery, and if anyone like one and you just don't have the means to get one or don't know how to get one, reach out. That's the other thing. Just reach out. Like, we're here for you. No one's going to belittle you. Like, you're not alone. We are all where you're at if you're not there yet, or we're looking to get to where you're at if you are there. So, yeah, Rick B. and Jesse E. will be on here, but that's a big event. They've been holding that here for a real long time. It's a big hit. They're good. They're good guys. So that's another thing that goes on here at 2218. And Gratitude Cafe. Jane, I think, was the first one on tonight.
she was.
And, yeah, she's our resident home cook. She cooks from the heart. It's awesome. So we got time to, like, bring up another topic. We're going to leave it open. What do you boys want to talk about? The floor is yours.
Oh, I thought you had something before that.
We have for like an hour and 20 minutes.
Well, no, but you were.
I mean, a smart ass. What did I? Oh, I did. I had a question someone sent me, I think.
Somebody did send you a
I
question.
know. I've got multiple questions.
That's what happens.
I have a question on here that says, ask them what this podcast is about. I don't know if it's smart ass or what they think, your guys' idea of what this. Yeah, when you were asked to do this show, what did you guys think about it prior to coming on? I don't know. That's a pretty weird
Well,
question.
they already knew because they listen.
I never saw 'em
For
on
me,
there.
it's about.
You've never
It's just
saw
like
it.
just like telling your story. It's about reaching one person. That's all that matters. Is if you reach one person, and they continue to stay sober that day if they're struggling, that's what matters about these kind of things. Is reaching that one person and them understanding that there's people here for them and that it's okay no matter what you're struggling with.
Yes.
Step 12, that's all I'm going to say.
Step 12.
100%.
Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to the alcoholic or addict and practice these principles in all of our affairs. Meaning, we give it away. We give it away. I think, you know what? Yeah, we can talk about that. You touched on it earlier. Like, there's a point in recovery, and my sponsor said the same thing. Like, when I was gung ho, pink cloud, early recovery, like I'm like, can I start sponsoring people? And like I wanted to give this to everyone I saw. I wanted to scream it. I wanted to get an net like a cable access channel and tell everyone about it. And he's like, well, pump the brakes, Tim. Like, you need to get through some steps. But there's a point in time in a recovery where, yeah, you need to start raising your hand when they ask, are you able to sponsor? Or can you be a mentor? Or can you be a contact? Like, I personally, I have a story with when that first happened for me. Like, when I was able to see that light pop over someone's head, or when that guy finally, it clicked. They're like, oh, shit. Someone said something to me in early recovery. His name's CJ. We will have him on the show eventually here, but he was like the first one that says, like, he looked at me and was emotional. He was like, Tim, you don't ever have to use again. CJ.
I love CJ.
Like, I knew that, but no one's really like basically grabbed me on my shoulders and looked at me. He's like, you don't ever have to use again. He was compassionate about it. And like, of course, I thought I knew that, but no one ever told me that. I was raised right. I knew right from wrong. I just always chose wrong. But like that was the moment in time where it's like, yeah, I don't like things just really start clicking then. And then other people, this just happened. We have someone named Kyle who's been on our show. I should have confirmed with him before I bring up what I'm about to bring up, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna bring it up anyways. He reached out to me, and it wasn't even about recovery. We bumped heads because I had to get, you know what, he stepped up, he did some service work, he did 7 Tradition for me, he filled in. Met him, I'm like, how you doing? And he told me, he's like, I'm not doing that good. And like, he started confiding into me and asking me for advice, and like, I don't even know if he really was. He was just like dumped on me, which we get to do for people sometimes without me saying, well, yeah, but me, or, you know, that terminal uniqueness, shit like that. Like, things like that are the gifts of this program that help keep me clean or sober. Because when you're giving something back to someone, for me, that's just another little piece of insurance on my recovery. Like, that's another reason I don't need to go back out. Like, saving lives type thing. What's that look like for you in your recovery to date? Like, helping newcomers, or when that point was where you started giving back?
I was thrown into it early. I met my sponsor, and I think at about between 6 and 9 months clean, he's like, oh, by the way, you're speaking on Thursday. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you're going to tell your story at a treatment center. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's a form of service work.
I'm doing what? Like, I don't even know what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? And he said, he goes, what happened, what it was like, and what it's like now. And he's like, always end in the solution. And that's really where the beginning of my service of helping newcomers started, is then. And that's where he told me, he said, if you ever get nervous, he goes, look out in that crowd. If you have one person nodding, you know you're doing a good job, because they're understanding and they're relating to what you're saying.
Right.
You know, and I don't think I've ever spoken and not at least seen that one person, you know, because we've all dealt with some sort of the same things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we may have some of the different problems, but a lot of them might be similar too. You know, the struggles with our families dealing with us using, the struggles of us seeing our friends and things using now that we're sober. Like, these are all things that we can all relate to, you know. You know, and right when I got, I think, past that step 4, that's when my sponsor said, oh, it's about time you raise your hand there, become a sponsor. And I was like, whoa, I don't know about that. And he's like,
whoa,
no.
hold the clock.
He's like, you're going to put that hand up. And then I sat at a meeting with him, my hand's on, he goes, my hand goes right up, right after I hear the cough. I'm like,
I like you guys
here
as
we
sponsor.
go. You know, but
He's a good dude.
that was the beginning. That's what taught me, you know, like, I have things to offer to other people the same way they do to me.
That's right.
And I may be nervous, but at some point I got to work through that. And the only way I'm going to work through that is by slowly making that progress. And now that I have sponsees, you know, it's not that hard, man. I'm just giving away what was given to me. Going through the book the way I was taught, doing the same thing, except I get to be on that other side this time,
Right.
and get to see that person grow and also grow on my own by working that 12-step.
We've had our sponsor, Tad and I have had our sponsor on here, and he'll adamantly share, like, majority of the time that he's working with us or with anyone, like, he's getting just as much, if not more, half the time out of it. So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
helping some You touched on it earlier about a newcomer, but like you didn't say newcomer. You said about when I asked you guys a question about, you know, when someone comes in with a shit attitude or whatever, and like you mentioned like that's part of a reason like I don't want to go back out. Like a newcomer, and I share about this a lot, like there's so many facets to a newcomer. And that's one of them. Like seeing where they just came from still half high, stinking, dirty, don't got shit going on. Like, I don't want to go back to that. Like, that's what's out there waiting for me. Like, that's a benefit of a newcomer. It sucks because they're in such a shitty, dark place, but that helps save my life.
Yeah, so
Like those newcomers.
It's that reminder.
Right. But then on the other hand, like, they might come in with some profound shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just fresh off and, like, they want this thing bad enough where they came to a meeting. No matter whatever situation they're in, but, like, working with them, whatever the case is, whether you're a sponsor or just a contact for them, like, you can, as long as you remain teachable, like, I find more than just, that's not where I want to be anymore out of it. Always. No matter what, especially if I'm helping someone. And that's always the key. Like, if you're struggling, if all else fails, go work with a suffering alcoholic.
Yeah.
What's that look like for you?
See, I've had a couple sponsees, and I think they were more the, hey, I just need this for court, or I need this for treatment.
Right.
But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, as long as I can sit here and speak on something that has changed my life, or share on something that could possibly save theirs, I'm gonna do it. I've had a couple slips, dips, and weekend trips. You know, I've came back. It's embarrassing, but it's humbling at the same time. It reminds me of why I need to get this shit down. I think 35 days ago, I was fresh off a relapse, and we mini-paw through a barbecue, and I was asked to share my story. And you know, I got up there and I was sharing my story, and I was looking out, and I could see, like what Andrew was saying, the head nods, and I'm like, that's, as long as someone's hearing it and hearing something that could save their life, that's all that matters to me.
Right.
When Monty's the definition of one of those people that you come in as a newcomer, he didn't lose any of that wisdom.
Hell no.
All that changed was his sober date.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's how you learn from them guys. You're that person that relapsed that just coming in off the street could have had 10, 15 years
It's like
before.
Matt. If he were here, he'd tell you. I don't know what he's throwing it in my face in a funny way, but like I don't know if I was trying to say something profound, but he's like, dude, I had 8 years before I like shit like that. He doesn't lose that 8 years. I mean, who knows what he drank away or what, whatever.
Right.
You had that time. No one can take that from you.
Yeah, you still have everything you learned in that
Right.
time.
That's right. And you don't know what, like I said, sometimes you don't hear it till you say it yourself, but other times, like, helping someone, like, they might say something that could really save your life down the road. Like, it doesn't matter how far you think you are in your recovery. Anything is long. Same with this show, man. Like, me and Tad would say it from the mountaintop. Like, if one person can find some help in this, I'm happy.
And the really cool thing is not only are you doing the best that you can to hopefully touch their life in some way, they're doing the same for you as you're doing for them.
Yes.
Speak on it, Elena.
Yes. That's exactly true. Every single person that walks in these rooms, whether they're new, old, anything, and I don't mean to like point out the old comers, newcomers, anything, they help everybody. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Just being in the room, whether they talk or not, they're helping. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're dark.
I am not.
What's
Okay,
on your phone?
sometimes.
What's on your phone?
What's on my phone? I'm looking for a buzzer beater.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what? Huh?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
Oh my
about
God,
it.
it is a late night podcast.
It's one of those podcasts.
It's not one of those podcasts.
Fucking with you.
All right, so we talked about steps. We talked about the newcomer. We talked about similarities and differences. Now we're gonna talk about relationships.
Oh shit.
Oh Jesus.
Shit. All right, guys, it's been real. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Well, with that type of a response, I want to get Monty. What's your
Figured.
take? What's your take on relationships, and what are they in recovery to you, and what's your thoughts on it? Fresh out 35 days. Talk to me.
Yeah, Monty, what's your take on relationships?
Hear it, bud.
Shit. All right.
Maybe I should get the other mom on the phone too.
My mom. Why not give it a call?
I love Mom. I wish Mom was listening. Shout out, Mom.
I sent it to her.
Wait, moms.
Moms. Multiple.
You know, my mom would be listening if she wasn't
Hell yeah.
wherever she
So,
is, Florida, I think.
I love both
Relationships-
of their moms.
Relationships can be tough, man, in recovery. Because once you get with someone and they are working their own program, it's
Wait. Their own program or
Yeah.
this program, or you hear like?
both, man. I've unfortunately been on both sides.
Okay. All right. Yup. Keep going.
You know, it's hard because at the end of the day, you got to be mindful of their recovery too. Because if I'm sitting here talking about how shitty my day was or how shitty some aspect of the relationship is, that could affect them in a way that they're not ready to hear. And I've seen it happen, man. It's not pretty when two people get together fresh into the rooms.
You mean fresh in the rooms or fresh in the recovery?
Yes.
Okay.
Both.
Alright. Like if you were,
Yes.
Let's put it this way, because just by your reaction and everything you're saying, like you've had some not the best experiences. It sounds like I don't know your story.
Yeah.
I don't know you. I haven't met you since tonight.
Elena can vouch.
What
yeah.
would be your suggestion to a guy coming out the street who's like, yeah, I'm in here to get recovery and find a girl? What's your suggestion to them?
One, that's not what this is for. 100%.
Good enough. Yeah. You mean the girl part?
The
Because they came in and said, I need some recovery and a girl.
yeah, that's.
I
Not,
need recovery in a relationship. What's your
No.
suggestion?
At the end of the day, if you're coming in here for recovery and a significant other, you're coming into recovery for the wrong reason. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
You shouldn't come in with a motive.
Correct. You should be. I mean, the only motive that you should have is to get your shit straight. Yeah, it's my only advice would be that, and if you do end up getting in a relationship, figure your own shit. Work your own program. Don't involve their program in yours because A, that's codependent. B, that's harmful to not only yourself, it's also harmful to the other person. Figure your own, clean your own side of the street and clean your act up before, because how can you love someone if you can't love yourself correctly?
Right. We come into these rooms and they show us how to love. They love on us till we figure out how to love on
Correct.
ourselves.
Correct.
Okay, that's your suggestion. I'm not asking you the same question. The question I'm asking you comes from Jordan V from Sober and Serious. What was your biggest fear about getting into recovery?
To be honest, it was, like I said, how do you have fun? Because I'd never done it, I thought it was going to be, I'm like, is it just all seriousness all the time? And it's not. I get together with my sponsor and we joke around, we have fun. Elena knows, she's hung out with us. We act like 15-year-olds sometimes. And
Do not go to Walmart with them.
and at the end of the day, these are the things that help me stay sober. I have fun, I can joke around, but I also know when it's time to get down to business and I'm serious about my recovery. And I do joke sometimes about my past. I'll joke about my old relapses and things like that, but that's because I can see how silly I was doing those things now. So I'm open to being able to joke about the things I noticed were mistakes before and the things I can do to not do them now. These are the things I notice now that I work a good program and I've done my steps and I keep showing up and I keep doing what I got to do to keep moving forward.
Right. Good. That's good answer. Good answer. Monty, another one from Jordan V. Sober and Serious is really stepping up with some questions.
Yeah, that's what's
I
up.
didn't notice all of them. What was the reason you got into recovery this time?
This time around,
Your last time.
I was tired, dude. In all honesty, I came into these rooms back in 2018, 2019, and I was coming up on 3 years, and then life happened, and my first reaction was, I wasn't really working the best program at the time. It was a big case of the fuck-its. And
Right.
woke up the next morning, and I was like, shit, I got to get back to it. But unfortunately, the mind state that I was in after I slipped up the first time was very, oh, well, I guess I got to be sober now. I guess I got to try and get back what I lost.
Right.
But the thing is, I didn't lose it at all.
No.
And this last go around,
But was your head telling you though while you were in the cloud, like while you're out there actively losing, like shit, I lost all my recovery?
yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right.
And this go around, it's, I started working with Andrew and I's sponsor, and this man has really changed my life in many ways.
Who's changed your life in many ways?
You have.
He's helped you change
He's
your own
helped
life
me
in many
change my
ways.
life.
There you go. Hey, look at this dude.
Got him.
You know he'd correct you if he
Yeah,
was
see,
here.
he 100% would
Everybody
correct
in the world is buried as you are.
I'm trying.
And it's the wisdom that this man has shown me is really amazing, and it's kind of opened my eyes to a lot of new things. And my attitude now is, let's get this shit done.
You're all in.
All 100%.
Well, don't worry, because I got one. So now you can just focus on this for a whole 11 minutes. Jesus, Elena. All right.
If
last
anybody
question
hears
I'm-
a slap,
Last
I
question
did
I'm
not
gonna drop
slap
on you
Tim.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
That
no
was
problem.
that was well put, bro. It really was. Like insightful. Sounds like you're about it. What's been your biggest struggle in recovery? Thank you, Jordan. First, thank you, Jordan V. I wish I'd have saw a lot. I got about 30 good questions, but they'll come for future shows. You can elaborate. You can short, long, however you want to answer. What's been your biggest struggle in recovery?
For me, the steps and everything weren't that hard. It was just following suggestions, taking them. Something I'm still constantly learning is how to have a healthy relationship. Because I come from being selfish, self-centered, self-seeking,
what?
Yeah.
all these things, yeah. And it's hard, for a long time I covered sadness up with anger. It's still something I'm working on, So it's something I'm still dealing with, and sometimes it takes patience. It's just something I got to work through. And sometimes it's uncomfortable if you even have a healthy relationship because you're like, why aren't we fighting right now? We should be arguing right now. We should be yelling at each other. What's going on?
How
You
can
know?
I come up with something?
And these are things where that's where my sponsor's for.
It happens.
100%.
Yeah, it does,
It
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what you have a sponsor for, is you can call them and be like, what's going on? And you can be like, you sound goofy. Listen to what you just said. Listen to what you
It's
just
because
asked
it doesn't
me.
seem normal.
No, because we're not used to it. We're used to, for however many years we used, to the insanity of our addiction, plus trying to be there for someone else, and we can't even be there for ourselves.
Right.
Like Monty said, if I can't love myself, how am I going to have unconditional love for somebody else?
Yeah, no, that's a great statement. That really is.
It's not going to happen,
No.
And like he said, early relationships, people do it, but it's probably not the smartest idea. That's why they suggest not to.
Right.
I did the whole no dating for a year thing, and I still struggle with it a little bit. That's one of the reasons I started therapy. I noticed it myself. I'm like, I struggle with being able to keep my cool in some situations because sometimes that old us does come out a little bit. And sometimes it's hard to throw that dirt back on and bury
Oh
it again.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's something I'm going to constantly work on, but it's hard, man. It's hard to have a healthy relationship, especially when you've never had one and you don't even know what it looks like.
That was like Tad when he was in this relationship, and I don't know how to say it the right way. The relationship was coming to an end, and it was over, and he shared about it in the show. But he was like, blown away. He's like, we didn't argue. Like, he didn't argue. Like, he did it as an adult. This isn't working out. Let's just move, shake hands, part ways. Like, that shit eventually comes. Like, he ended a relationship without it being fighting or throwing the TV or da-da-da. Like, without even knowing it, the growth does happen.
Yeah. And
Like, you work on it.
it's something you got to learn. Not every relationship has to end in you hating each other,
Correct.
There can be civility after having a relationship with someone, and you can still be friends.
Right.
And for a long time, from where I come from in my addiction, I had to learn how to be okay with being friends with women first. And that's like when I met Elena and them, and I could be okay being a friend and not expecting other things because that's what I did before.
Right.
The only thing I would expect is that if I'm in need of something, they would at least answer the phone and be there to help me if I
Right.
need it.
As
And they
support.
always were.
Yep.
They always were there for support. And I should never put expectations on anything because it leads to a future resentment. And then that's something I have to deal with again. But that was a big thing for me is I had to learn how to be okay with being friends with females and just leaving it at that.
Fucking score. That's good.
Attaboy.
That's good. We got time to, yeah. What's been your biggest struggle in recovery?
Oh, jeez. Honestly, probably reaching out or learning how to set boundaries with myself.
Wait, say that again. Reaching out to learn how to, oh, okay.
Reaching out or setting boundaries
Okay,
with self.
okay.
With the reaching out part, when I was using and getting drunk, it was very
You
much.
reached out to the dope man, that was it.
Yep, pretty much.
Right. Right,
Yeah.
that was that's a statement a lot of people like, did you ever hesitate to call a dope man you were out? When you would run out, did you ever hesitate or think twice like, shit, it's late, or I just call them, or I'm going to be fronting, or da-da-da? Never.
Nope.
Like, how hard is it to pick the phone up and be like, hey, I need some help?
Right.
It seems, but yeah.
Yeah, it's sad to see. Early on in recovery, I was I don't need help. I got this myself. I don't need to do this with anyone's help. And that was a stupid thought, but,
Well, does that kind of go hand in hand with finally giving up? Like, when you find, like, that's part of shedding that final layer of, like, fuck, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the opposite of what you said you had trouble doing. Before, it's like, you come in these rooms like, nah, I got this. That's not even giving up. You're nowhere near giving up if you're in
Right.
here thinking you got it. Otherwise,
Correct.
you wouldn't be in here type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel that was one of the biggest hurdles of when I finally was done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I was done, meaning I don't have this. I have no control over what's going on. I need some help. And that means on all aspects. I don't know how to boundaries, relationships, friendships, women, fucking self-care, hygiene, clothing, like everything. Like, I needed help. Like, once I finally gave that in and like pride, ego, all that, got to throw it out the window.
Yep.
Like, that's a big step in a lot of people's lives.
The one thing you gotta change is everything.
Yeah, the one thing you got to change, Elena,
It's everything.
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 You know what, boys and girls? We got 5
Everything.
minutes left. What I want to start off by saying is thank you, too, for stepping up, coming on the
Thanks for
show.
having us.
That's huge, man. We really appreciate it. If we help one person, that's a wrap. That's good. So we're going to talk with Elena a little bit. What are you grateful for this week?
What am I grateful for this week? I'm grateful that I got to spend time with Bubba Sparks. Bubba Sparks. I am. I'm very grateful.
And with...
Oh, and Monty.
Wow. That's cool.
I love Monty too. I do.
That's cool.
I love all my friends. I really do. I love.
Sorry, this is your grateful time. I didn't mean to speak up.
Yeah, you
That was
did.
rude. That's like someone getting clean time and me being like, yeah, and you did what? Alright, so what are you really grateful for? You got to see Bubba Sparks and... I'm sorry.
I am. I'm grateful that I got to see my friends tonight, and I'm grateful that I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that things are hopefully going to look up for my dad, and hopefully things will start to be a little bit better. And hopefully my sister will start dealing with my mom so I can take a break for the weekend. And yeah, I really am grateful. No matter what, I'm grateful because I'm still clean and sober. I'm still doing this thing, no matter what happens. I do have a really good support system of people that care about me that I've been in contact with all week and most of today. So yeah.
Monty,
Yes.
what are you grateful for this week?
I'm grateful to be sober.
Good one.
I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be surrounded by a lot of good, like-minded individuals and keep working a good program.
Easy said. Bubba, talk to me, Goose. What you grateful for, man?
I'm grateful to wake up another day clean and also to have this opportunity because, like I said, I was a little irritable earlier and I messaged a friend when we were doing this and I was like, this is what I'm talking about, getting out of myself. Like, I'm leaving here in a better mood than before I got here, you know? That's what I'm saying. I'm grateful for these opportunities where I get to show up and leave fresh and
Right.
ready to move forward instead of pissy and, you know, kicking the ground.
Mhm.
This sucks, you know? Because I'm tired because the store wasn't open. We were trying to go to it. I'm like, man, what the fuck? You know, and then I get to come here and now I get to leave and go spend time with like-minded individuals, have a good time, and stay sober.
Oh yeah.
Well, Tim, what are you grateful for?
Hi, I'm Tim, and let's see how awkward I can make it. Hi, I'm Tim. I'm here doing this podcast with some good people, like-minded individuals. You know what? I'm also an asshole sometimes. But
Yes, he is.
I like to laugh. Like, if you listen, you know I like to laugh. Like, I'm grateful about the things that I've learned in recovery. I usually start this off by telling you guys how grateful for my mom I am. I am. Like, she, like, anything I don't say, she knows because I tell her daily. She knows. Like, I send her messages. Like, I live with my moms, and I still send her messages. Like, I don't see her for weeks. Like, I'm real grateful for her. Like, I'm grateful for her. She's takes on more than a woman should have to, and she's a beast. I love my moms. I love what I've been taught in recovery. These things that I watch other people do, like, I steal their shit. It's the one time in my life I can be proud of it, like, I stole that from him. I'm talking about some of the recovery. Like, the shit you shared about tonight, shit you shared about, I'm going to steal some of that stuff. Like, I know you guys you didn't make it up. You found it from somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
And now I get to take it and share it with someone else. Like, that's this thing of recovery. It's a ultimate networking thing. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that this thing is just the opposite of selfish. I probably would be dead today if it was a selfish program. You know that saying. I got to be selfish about my recovery, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm really grateful for all this. We'll get to a buzzer beater. What that is I'm going to ask a question. You're going to just tell me the answer off the top of your head. Like if you're stranded on a desert island, what's the one thing you'd take with you? Type of shit. That type of question. So that's not going to be the question. So you don't even have to think about that. Elena's busy putting up the link again. 2218 is where we got this podcast coming to you from. Our guests tonight, like, they stepped up. They, gave up some good information, some good experience, strength, and hope. Elena, beast mode, just boss bitch type stuff. She's always on it, and I appreciate it, Elena. Thank you, Elena.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Elena.
Yeah, you're
She
welcome.
claims to be always multitasking, but I know she just focused on something else.
No, I'm just tuning you out.
So, anyone listening or who's going to be listening, like, reach out to me if you need someone to talk to. I believe our guests are in the same boat. Elena
Absolutely.
puts her number out
course.
there. You're not alone. You're loved. You're well worth. Like, you're no one's worthless. And, like, if you feel like you're alone or trapped or like you have nothing left on this world or whatever the case is, like, just reach out. You can reach out to me personally. I got my number on here. I'll talk to you all night. I don't care. I'll come meet you. If you need help, just don't not reach out. Closed mouths don't get fed, and we won't know unless you talk. That's just how this program goes. You got to speak up. We're here for you. We love you. 2218. That's who's letting us do the podcast. give if you can. Come down and donate. Donate your time. Volunteer. There's tons of stuff for volunteering here. Winter's coming. They're going to need help. And you got court cards to sign. You've got some volunteering. You need community service hours. Come on down. I'm sure there's a sidewalk that could be cleaned, and you can get some hours. It's what we do at the club here. So I think with that, Elena, is there anything else you want to talk to the audience about in the last few minutes?
No, I just want to tell everybody I hope you have a good week, and just remember that we are here. If you ever need somebody to talk to, you just reach out. We always answer our phones, text messages, anything. So if you ever need somebody to talk to, don't hesitate.
You are loved. Monty,
Yes.
if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, shit.
Come on.
Probably flight.
Fly?
Flight, yeah, that'd be
All
sick
right.
as hell.
Bubba, well, any superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
Invisibility, you pervert.
Yes.
Elena, any superpower, what would it be?
To be able to do everything with my hands because I could not find the tools that I needed when I was trying to fix my plumbing. So
Wait. Do what?
Yes, I couldn't find the wrench I
So
needed.
you'd be a master handyman?
Yes.
Shapeshifter.
No, I think she's going as easy as like a carpenter. You would want to be a carpenter.
Yes, because I couldn't find the tools I needed when I was trying to fix the plumbing under my sink.
Okay, so you wish you had the superpower ability
Yes,
of
like
tools?
turn my hand into like a screwdriver when I needed
okay,
it.
Inspector Gadget.
And like, yes,
Inspector Gadget.
that's what
Bro,
I want to
we're
be.
the same wavelength, man.
It's fun because you can mess with people.
All right.
Anytime.
Well, with that said, everyone, have a great week. Who's our guest next week, Elena?
I am not 100% sure, so stay tuned for a surprise guest next week.
Yes, and if not, I'm going to try to get John Anderson on next week.
Okay,
he
well,
needs a pretty girl like you to reach out to him.
We have to talk to Tad just to double check because he might have somebody, but we will get back to y'all next week. So just stay tuned for next week and we'll let you know.
All right, we love you. Thank you.
Thank
Wrap
you,
it up.
everyone.
Chop,
Thank
chop.
Have a good week.
Chop, chop.